I don't know. No
Yeah,
idea.
what happened? Some things best left unsaid.
I'll bring this Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for July 2nd, 2025 to order. First piece would be the roll call, please.
David Cash,
Here.
Stefan Wanamaker,
Here.
Gary Gross, Thomas Evans,
Here.
Jerry Heidenreich,
Present.
AJ Mintel.
Present.
Thank you. Now, if you would all join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. All right, next would be approval of the minutes of our meeting on June 4th of 2025. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
I did, and I would move to accept the minutes.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cash,
Yes.
Mr. Wanamaker,
Yes.
Mr. Evans,
Yes.
Mr. Heidenreich,
Yes.
Mr. Mintel.
Yes.
All right, thank you again. Okay, the first application is case number 16-25 for an area and dimensional variance. Ms. Savage, would you
Yeah.
prefer Ms., Mrs.?
Whatever's fine.
Ms.
I'm still
Savage,
getting used to it too.
Would you present to the
Absolutely.
board this application, please?
So this is a request by applicant Hallmark Student Development Company for an area and dimensional variance for the property at 3305 Atrium Boulevard to allow for 2 wall signs on the north and west face of the building totaling 45 square feet each, where the Middletown Development Code only allows for a maximum sign area of 30 square feet. So the subject property is the Gateway Lofts at Renaissance Point. The property is zoned in the city's BCHP, Business Center Hub Plan Development District. The purpose of the Plan Development District is to provide an opportunity for creative and flexible land development where a base zoning district will not accommodate the proposed development, but where such development will further the purpose of this code and the goals and policies of the master plan. The Plan Development District is designed to allow for deviations from certain zoning standards that would otherwise apply if not contrary to the general spirit and intent of this code. So Middletown Development Code 1220.06 states that all development in a Plan Development District shall be subject to the standards of this chapter, alluding to the signage chapter of our code, unless otherwise modified through the Plan Development Review and Approval process. Middletown Development Code 1220.0B, this is the section of our code that talks about signage in the non-residential district, which in this case is the BCH district. It states that buildings, developments, and subdivisions that are 100% residential in any non-residential district shall be subject to the permanent sign allowances established in section 1220.07, which points us back to our signage regulations in residential districts. So that states in the general standards section of that chapter that each sign may have a maximum sign area of 30 square feet. So this area and dimensional variance request is a 52% increase from the Middletown Development Code allowable square footage. Per the Middletown Development Code, the requirement for legal notice for variance requests and meeting notice letters for the proposed area and dimensional variance were sent to all property owners contiguous and directly across the street or public right-of-way of the subject property. No comments have been received to date. This is their variance application. This is their site plan. This is their rendering. Here are your area and dimensional variance review criteria, time limit and appeals process, and that concludes my staff report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Savage regarding the staff report? I did have one question. Could you go back to the signage? Now, it appears that that sign, and the applicant if here is going to be able to tell us more, I guess. Are these letters that actually affix to the building?
I believe so, yes, but I can let the applicant
All right.
speak to that.
So I just wondered how, if letters affixed to the building, how is the square footage calculated? Because we don't have a
Yeah.
perimeter of a sign, we've got letters here.
Yeah, so our code defines how we determine square footage by, even if there's negative space in the channel lettering, we do it by the height and the width of the sign. So even if it's empty space, we still include it as square footage, if that makes sense.
Well,
So basically draw a box around it and then,
so if I drew a box around Gateway Lofts,
yeah,
and the vertical leg of the
Yeah.
signage would be,
all the way down from the G and the Y. So we take that whole thing into consideration.
I'm still,
But
Oh,
for the
wait,
height,
wait.
where does the height start? I'm looking at this scale, and it,
So the height would start at the top of the gateway and it would end at the bottom of lofts.
okay.
So we would take that whole thing and then the maximum width of it. So all of gateway.
So it would not, geometry here.
No,
It
you're
would
fine.
not, it would not be a trapezoidal
No.
sign. It would be a
Rectangle.
rectangular sign, even though there
Yes.
would be negative,
Yes.
there would be nothing in the lower portion of that signage surrounding lofts.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's, I got a question.
Yeah.
I can't read this dimension on that. Is there any way you can tell what the real size is?
Yeah, I can't. I tried and I couldn't.
Yeah. You just can't read that stuff.
Yeah, I tried to enlarge it here. Couldn't get it.
I know I was going
Well, if the applicant's here,
Yeah. What's-
we can ask, well, sir,
to here.
are you the applicant? I'm here to represent you. Okay, we'll get with you in just a
He's
second.
got to get the light.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Although, if you want to pass that on to Ms. Savage, so at least
4. 8'8" and then 13 by? 13'10". Okay. 13'10" in width and 8'8" in height. Or,
That's just the loft width.
oh, just the loft width.
all right, well, I'll get a hold of you. I think you're going to be able to answer us better anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good, that's good. Is this, since these are three-story lofts, is this sign, it looks as though it's intended to be on the third level corner?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
No? Not on the top of it?
Oh,
I'll
okay.
let the applicant
All right,
speak to
all
it.
right. Any other questions for which Ms. Savage might not be able to answer? Anybody else? Anybody else? All right, I'll close this portion, or open this portion of the meeting to anyone who wants to speak in favor of the application. Please step forward. Oh, you know, I didn't swear Ms. Savage in either.
Oh, every time. That's
I'll swear both of you in at the same time. If you would both raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, thank you, sir. And if you could identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Ryan Pearson, Edge Group. I'm a land planner, landscape architect by background. I'm here representing Hallmark Campus Communities, 330 West Spring Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. So I will try to answer the questions, but again, I'm planning landscape guy. Everybody else seems to be on vacation this week, so I was trying to catch up with what we submitted and what we are requesting here today. I can tell you that the way that Will Tucker, who filed the application, the way he measured this was just a box around each one of the words, and then he totaled that up. So it is not including the white space in between gateway and lofts on either of the signs. So If that's the case, then we might need to talk about both signs at this time. And the 45 foot would be, square feet would be a little bit different than
Little bit.
what we've requested. So with that, depending on if we have to include that space in the middle or not, it's 1 or 2 variances based on the way I read the staff report. If you look at the exhibit above, the sign on the left with the kind of buff-colored background, that is actually on the clubhouse. The clubhouse is a 1-story building that has a 2-story element on the corner, on that northwest corner, so it really is the gateway, if you will, into the overall Renaissance development at that point. The white letters on the dark background, that is on a tower above the 3-story element of the building on the northeast corner that would be opposite of the event center. So that's as you come in that boulevard heading south, you would see that sign.
Are those towers part of the planned architecture as it is, or are they added on just to have the signage?
No, they're part of the architecture, and it's architecture that Hallmark has repeated over on several developments over and over. So they prefer to do building mounted signage versus the monument signs and the maintenance and mowing around them. That's just their preferred method. And then the other thing that I would state is I think in this one, if you look at the preliminary development plan, we thought the signage would have been included in our final development plan approvals. We really didn't know that there was a question about signage until the night that or the day that we were coming out here to present. So we really found out about it that day. We did submit some information that we thought we could talk about that night, but it just never came up. But when I look at this overall development from a planning standpoint, the BCH plan district, the way I see it is it's a mixed-use community or a mixed-use master planned Renaissance point for the entire thing. So it has an event center, it has a commercial out along 122. We just happen to be the residential component of that overall mixed-use development. So I think some of it might be just the way code is interpreted, that at this point we're requesting a variance just because we are a pure residential piece within the overall development, and we are coming forward with a pure residential development, component in that overall development. So to me, if we were in the BCHP district and just the BCH, I think we would be allowed on the clubhouse building 120 square feet of sign on the north side, and then on the longer side of the building, about 140 square feet of signage, if we were a commercial use. And so if you look at all the land uses around us, to the west is all commercial. It's a commercial corridor down 122, and so just the nature of these buildings, the scale of the buildings, the height, the flat roofs, it's really just, we're requesting a sign because we think it's probably the best and right thing to do, proportion on the building itself and quality of the development.
I don't have a lot to add. I just will tag on. I don't remember this being an issue when we approved the final development plan for that development, because I'm also on the planning commission as well. So I don't remember anything of that sort coming up, but that's my little piece on that. I don't really have any questions for you, sir. Does anybody else?
I do. Even though the city measures square footage by the rectangular parameters of this sign, have you by chance calculated the square footage of the letters only as they would exist on the side of the building?
So just to clarify, when you suggest letters only, we're not including any of the space.
Well, I mean, if you were to box in
The box-
gateway
so-
and box in loft,
So the request that's in front of you today with the 45 square feet is actually a box around gateway that's a square box, so the Y would be squared off. And then lofts is a square box as well, and that's the 45 square feet
okay,
that's before us today.
okay. Is this a template? I think when this initially came before Planning Commission, Gateway Lofts or Hallmark, it's Hallmark Communities. Is this a template that's used in other residential communities?
It is. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with their development over in Centerville, but they do have a clubhouse, I think it's Alex Bell Road, as it's heading north there, that has the sign on the sign tower. The architecture has changed a little bit. That one had kind of a barrel vault kind of roof mass over the top of it, but still very similar, I think, in nature, quality.
Okay, I got a couple questions. Are you requesting 4 signs, the way this thing reads?
It's actually, we're allowed 1 sign per entrance into the development, is my understanding. So we could have one at this corner, we could have one in our southwest corner, both coming off Union. We could also have a sign in the northeast corner, which was actually requested during our preliminary meeting with the city because of the event center, and just, I think it's more about activating this commercial zone, that they wanted to sign on that northeast corner tower.
I'm not disputing that, I'm
Yeah.
just reading what the request is, and the request
And
was
so
two
with
wall
wall
signs on
signs,
the
it allows-
clubhouse and 2 signs on building 3, and I'm thinking that's a total of 4 signs.
And so with the wall signs, we get a sign at each one of those entrances, and then there are actually two wall signs per location, is the way I interpreted the code.
Yes.
I think the northeast signs have been approved by administrative waiver.
Correct. So we get a 10% administrative waiver. So our code says 30 square feet. Their second sign or set of 2 signs was 31 square feet. So that's within the 3 feet that we have the ability to waive and improve ourselves. And so they would just need a variance for the 45.6 square feet. And I did calculate it, and it's 69.1 square feet if you actually include the rectangular box, but I can't determine from the gate, the one on the, yeah, the one on the right.
Okay, the question then is, how did you calculate the 31 square feet on the other buildings?
It would be based upon what he said, where they just considered the box around Gateway and then the separate box around.
That's not what the city,
Correct.
so I think that one is also not in compliance.
That would be over, yes. But I can't determine right now from this.
Well, and that's fair,
Yeah.
My problem is, I think that based on the zoning,
Yeah.
the request is in error. And for that reason, I can't accept it, so that's where I am.
Didn't the application initially include the 2 northeast
Yes.
signs?
Yes, it did.
So there is actually a request, even though there's been an administrative waiver to approve them, and maybe
Yeah.
that was improper. I don't know if that was,
I'm not sure. I was told it was okay.
okay.
But based on conversation with Claire, but if it's not, I can amend their application.
I guess the issue is, did the planning department rely upon the dimensions that were provided by the applicant in approving the northeast signage?
Yes,
And if
we
it
did.
was without an actual calculation of the square footage,
Yes,
that administrative waiver may not
Not
be.
apply.
Not be proper.
correct.
That's, I think, what you were talking about.
exactly what
Yeah.
And I have the same concern.
What, can you give us the dimensions of the northeast
So that's what I was,
signage?
no, you're fine. That's what I was trying to look at in their application. So I've got the height, but I can't determine the width just because of the coloring of the application.
The width of Gateway is 11 feet 8 inches on the sign on the right,
11.8 for the,
11.666. So, and then the lofts is 7 feet 2, but I don't know what the space in between there is.
yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right, I need to know the
If the
space.
if the city is measuring these,
And I apologize.
oh, no. If the city is measuring them from a rectangular
I need to know that too.
perimeter standpoint, then your calculation
Yeah.
might not be accurate from the
We
city's
need a
standpoint.
variance on both locations, I
Okay.
agree.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'd rather do it one time.
So then that would have to be an amended application from you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to understand, probably none of us want to object to this, but I just want to make sure that we're properly doing it.
I agree.
So
So we'd
should we
motion to
continue with the
continue or
public
table?
hearing and that? Sorry, go ahead, Casey.
No, you're fine. It'd be to table until,
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we continue the public hearing, see if anybody else has anything to say, and then obviously, make a motion to table when we're through with that? Yeah, okay.
I'll be here if you have any more questions.
Let me ask you, of course, I realize that ground has not been broken, so, at least I don't believe on this residential community. So, we're a little form over substance here, but I understand where everyone's concern is. We don't have an accurate measurement of these signs as the city
Legal language
requires.
wouldn't be.
I agree, but the variance request is for the north and the west face. So, like Casey said, he might have
Well-
to go back and just have to amend the whole thing, or just, because again, this variance request does not include the north and the east, the way I'm reading.
so the variance request on their application includes the request
Included
for
both.
the northwest and the northeast.
Okay,
But we can approve the northeast administratively based upon their square footage calculations. However, it turns out that the way they calculated square footage is different than the way our code defines. Yeah, so they would have to amend the whole application to
okay,
include.
I just didn't want to cross up.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine.
All right.
And I wish I could calculate it here.
I'm so, me too.
We understand this different department covering, so,
I'm sorry, but that's,
yeah.
I understand that. And from a timing standpoint, I think maybe that's where you were going with this.
right.
We're still, the civil was out shooting grades to just confirm the grades that we're using for design or what we need moving forward, and then it's gonna be, everybody full speed ahead and trying to get submitted for zoning compliance, but I think we have time for signage.
You understand that at this point in time, your application is specific to the
I
way
do.
you've measured it versus
definitely
the way the
understand.
code requires it.
Yep.
Okay,
I
good enough.
understand that. Yep,
Any other questions?
all right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application, please come forward. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please come forward to be sworn. Seeing no one approaching the dais, I will close the public portion of this meeting and discussion among the
Well,
board members.
I think AJ was suggesting that we table it until they get it corrected. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, let's, before I make a motion, let's just define some, what we want, right? So we want the, measurements clarified, and then we want the, the actual, signage, we need sorry, I'm blanking on the actual terms now that I'm talking. But this is for the 45.6 square feet, so 52% increase. I would like to know how much of a increase that is from our, standards, because this is obviously a little bit on the low side. Sorry, I went on a tangent. Does anybody have anything to say?
Well, no, I want to add that we need to verify the initial one that was accepted on the smaller dimensions. I think we just need to clarify so that we don't have any future issues. And we'll go by what the zoning code calls for the way you measure it. So I don't know if that's a part of the amendment or how we want to phrase it, but are we going to table it then?
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion then to continue this to the August meeting.
I'll second that.
I was just
Oh,
asking to
I'm
entertain
sorry.
a
motion.
Oh, my bad. I thought you said I'll make one. I will make that motion to table it until the next.
Okay, and I'll second it. And I would like to read what it says.
You ready?
Yes.
Mr.
I should have asked you.
You're fine. Mr. Cash?
Yes.
Mr. Wanamaker?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Heidenreich?
Yes.
Mr. Mintel?
Yes.
And you understand You understand the requirements. Good deal. We'll see you in August.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, the next,
It's the trouble of having an engineer on it. Damn.
to it.
I knew there was two.
All right, the next case is case number 1725. This is an application for an area and dimensional variance presented by James Henson. Ms. Savage?
So this is a request by applicant James Henson for an area and dimensional variance for the property at 5635 Stone Path Drive to allow for a shed to remain in the side yard of a property where the Middletown Development Code only permits sheds in the rear yard. So the property is zoned in the city's R3 medium density residential. And then per the Middletown Development Code 1206.01, Table 1203-1, permitted accessory uses and structures, detached storage/utility sheds, gazebos, pool houses, and other similar buildings are only permitted in the rear yard of a property and require a certificate of zoning compliance. The applicant notes the variance requested is necessary given the exceptional narrowness, shallowness, and shape of the specific property, the exceptional topographic condition, and extraordinary situation or condition of the property. The applicant states in their application that the shed was built in the side yard due to the steep hill and back of house. Per the Middletown Development Code, the requirement for legal notice for variance request and meeting notice letters for the proposed area and dimensional variance were sent to all property owners contiguous and directly across the street or public right-of-way of the subject property. No comments have been received to date. This is their variance application. This is supplemental site plan they provided. Here are your area and dimensional variance review criteria, your time limit and appeals process. And that concludes my staff report.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Savage regarding the staff report?
So we got no notices of, no comments made, but this was based on a complaint by somebody at some time.
Yes, correct. This was a complaint that the Community and Economic Development Department received, and then upon inspection on May 28th, it was found to be not in compliance with our code, and a notice of violation was then sent out, and the property owner promptly responded to us and submitted the certificate of zoning compliance application as well as an application for BZA.
But whoever may have made that initial complaint.
But no-
Follow up with
nope.
it. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'll open up the meeting to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please step forward here, sir, and be sworn. Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Identify yourself if you would.
My name is William Colston. I live at 5016 Kilcarry Drive in Middletown. My property is directly behind Mr. Henson's house. We're his backyard neighbors, so to speak. And I wanted to point out that the shed he's built is very attractive, matches his home very well, and does not distract from the neighborhood beauty, if you will. Also, his backyard is sloped such that it would be very hard for a shed to be put back in the back. As a matter of fact, the past owner had a massive shed that was hooked onto the corner of his house and was up on stilts coming back out into the backyard, and it was just horrific. So I'd like to compliment what Mr. Henson's done and ask you to approve his request. Thank you.
Hold on, sir, hold on. Anybody have any questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
How long has the shed been there?
I'm sorry, the old one or the
No, the current one.
new?
Do you know?
Months.
A couple of months?
When he moved in, he put the shed up. The old shed had been taken down when the current resident left, they came and took the shed away, which pleased us very much because it was just an eyesore from the beginning. But what he put in is very attractive and fits in very well.
I agree with your comments. Thank you.
Sir, let me ask you, is this Sawyer Mill subdivision or development, is that where you live?
We are in Manchester Manor.
You are.
We're the last house before you get up into the Sawyer Mill development, which I think is called Manchester something else, Parkway or,
So Mr. Henson's property is in Sawyer Mill?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, well, if Mr. Henson's here, we'll ask him.
Yes, here.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other, anyone else who wishes to speak in favor, please come forward. Okay.
I hear you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Identify yourself if you would.
My name is Jim Henson. I'm the owner of 5635 Stone Path Drive. I did, I put the shed up. I know you had questions about, when the shed was actually still under construction when your picture was taken. Actually, it was towards the end of the construction part of it. I purchased this house as a kind of like what it was a bank repo. A contractor came in, had purchased a place. I purchased it in late January, so we haven't done a whole lot to the outside yet. We actually have some things we wanted to do. One of them was actually build a shed because there's no basement to the place. But I did take some pictures of around the house that I have here if you'd like to see. And like I said, Sawyer Point, I don't know if I'm in Sawyer Point or what. I actually know I'm the first house in Warren County. So that's all I really know. My previous address, I was out in the state of Delaware. Prior to that, I was in Tennessee. So I've been kind of around the block here. I'll hand this, let you.
So if you give those to us, they become part of the record.
That's fine.
We'll be keeping those, okay?
That's fine.
All right,
Don't have an issue with that.
good enough. While those are going around, anything else you want to tell us?
No, like I said, well, there is other things I wanted to do to the house. Actually, like I said, the shed was actually the very first thing. Oh, I do have a letter from my next door neighbor. I don't know if that'd do any good.
If you wish to submit that, we'll take that.
That's the actual next door neighbor. If you're looking at the house, you'll see to the left. The reason the shed's pulled forward instead of farther back is my utilities are right there.
Jerry.
So somebody prior, they had blocked the utilities. So I've got my gas, my electric, and everything else literally right. So if you go back too far behind the utilities, you're into the hill. So you have to go forward in order to, the shed size that I had built was a 10 by 12. I'm a retired contractor. So I'm actually out of the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union. So, but I'm retired. And, we just kind of figured to get to the house and fix it up a little bit, do a few things. Actually one of the projects is I wanted to pour a little bit of concrete in front of that. And I want to build an awning on the back, and I need to put a fence up. So there's projects that need to be done. And I even got Burns, they're coming out and looking at laying some more soil down the bottom of that hill. The very bottom of the hill, what you don't see is, you see the 5-foot easement that's in there, but off the 5-foot easement is a drain. It's not in the easement, it's actually in my property. It runs all the way down through there. And the actual drain's actually in my yard. So, I don't know why they did that. I kind of assume that, knowing how counties are, that, Butler County's like, well, we don't want it on our side of the land, let's put it on Warren County side, even though the easement's in Butler County side. So I really don't understand, but that's why you can't put anything down at the very bottom, plus the hill's like this. You can't get a mower to push it up and down. It's strictly weed whack. That's why I'm having Burns come in and add a bunch more topsoil down through there, so I can at least try to get a mower up and down it. I appreciate your time. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Sure.
These last couple of photographs,
Oh, those are actual sheds that are around in the neighborhoods.
okay?
That they actually, sit on the side of the house because they have the same issues. I mean, when you got backyards that are like this, I mean, where else are you supposed to stick anything? And majority of the homes around that area don't have basements.
So this is in the same plat, then?
It is in the same plat,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Any other questions? I do.
Sure.
So you're not aware of whether you're governed, and not that it's relevant necessarily to our decision, but you're not aware of being subject to any type of subdivision covenants which would cover outbuildings? I know they do because.
They do. I did look them up. Apparently, I had looked up, what I had looked up for Middletown/Franklin, when it popped up and I looked at everything and I read it. What I neglected to look at it was actually the wrong state that popped up instead of Ohio. So, because it said I didn't need anything.
I think you've kind of lost where I was going. If you're in a subdivision, when you closed, you would have been given a declaration of
If there's an
covenants
HOA.
and restrictions, an HOA that governs how people can't, certain things that people can't do on their properties. And you don't know whether you're in.
I'm not in no HOA. I'm not in a HOA. I know that. The HOA, my understanding when I was told, when we closed on the house was the whole area used to be an HOA. It's no longer an HOA. If you go out of my house and on Stone Path to go right around the corner to the next stop sign, the HOA starts. And the reason you can identify that is, from what I was told, was the HOAs do not have a mailbox in front of their house, where the people that no longer have our HOA, they got mailboxes in front of their houses. That's how I was told to identify it.
Could you go back to the photograph that shows the shed? Sir, if I was the next door neighbor, my concern would be that you got a pickup truck in your yard. I don't know whether there's any, but is that what you intend on doing, is to park your pickup there in front of your shed while?
No, actually,
if the shed is approved?
No, my actual vehicle is actually parked on my driveway right now.
Whose truck is that?
That is my truck.
Well, it's not on the driveway, it's on grass.
Correct.
Mr.
Okay.
Cash, this might be a little outside of the bounds of what the.
It is. I'm curious.
Yeah, I have a pickup truck and I have a car. Actually, I think you can barely see the car in the driveway, in the garage. Mm-hmm. And that's my Honda Accord. Something else I didn't realize when I had purchased a house is the truck doesn't fit in the garage. Of course. So, because we still have a bunch of stuff in the garage, that's why I was building the shed. In order to get in and out of the garage with my other vehicles, that's my main driver right now that I use. I did probably pull the truck over to keep it up out of the way, but currently it's been parked in the driveway. Actually, I don't know, quite a bit lately because, we only drive one vehicle. My son actually is getting ready to come pick up my truck and use it because his is broke down right now. So.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Sure.
How did you become aware that you needed a variance for that shed?
Well, I ended up getting a complaint notice that was mailed to me. And I came up here, got it that day, went up the next day, came up here, and they told me somebody had filed a complaint. And that's how, so I don't know who filed the complaint, which is not a big deal. But I kind of looked around and thought, got all these other sheds around in the neighborhood that are the same criteria mine are. So I'm saying, I didn't think much of it.
It happens, I know. Okay, thank you.
Any other,
Just one more. So the gentleman that spoke previously, he's behind you?
He is,
Okay.
yes. Yeah,
The-
Buddy lives exactly right behind me.
Okay. The letter, the handwritten letter you provided, where is that individual?
That's the gray house right next door to me.
All right, thank you.
And they just moved in from Colorado. So they knew the shed was in the process of being worked on when they actually came and looked at the house. And they were already aware of it before they purchased the house.
any other questions? All right, Mr. Henson, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the, did you have something else to say, sir? Well, you'll have to come forward here so we can get you on the record, okay? Thank you. And so the record is clear. Identify yourself again.
William Costin.
All right, thank you.
To add to the conversation that we had going there, I'm not sure about from his house down that street, but one block over it, and I think it is Manchester Park, is what they call it. There are several houses that have added the type of concrete drive beside their house. They go into a fence rather than a shed, but they or used it to park their vehicles over to the side of the driveway and also the travel trailers. There are a few of those in there, so that is common in that area.
Okay.
Just wanted to make that point.
Any questions? All right, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application, please step forward. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please come forward to be sworn. I see no one wishing to speak, so I'll close the public portion of this meeting. Board members, comments, discussion?
I've got a question on the complaint that was filed. Can you speak to any of that? I mean, what was the reason that it was filed? Was it our inspector that caught it, or?
It was not our inspector. The complaint was anonymous. They just noted that the shed was built in the side yard of the home and that we should check it out.
Okay.
If I may, I'm familiar with this neighborhood. I've sold several homes in that neighborhood, and the applicant is correct. I drove by 2 days ago to look at the shed. It does match the home well, but once you drive from his home, almost, you could see about 4 other houses that have the exact same shed in the exact same spot almost. It's a very common theme in that neighborhood. I think as I was driving around, I counted about 6 others. So it seems to be a common problem there in that plat, and really specifically in this little lower Stone Path area in Stone Path Court. So from my experience, it's common, and again, none of those have basements. There's no room for storage, and the grading and the flooding that happens in some of those lots, it pretty much turns into the only option for many of the residents there. But that being said, I would be in favor of granting the variance.
I'll second that.
Was that a motion?
That wasn't an exact motion, but
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I am also, in favor. I'm looking at the review criteria, criteria 1, it's got the steepness of the lot. But then also, number 5, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered or whether adjoining properties would suffer substantial detriment as a result of the variance. Seems like both of the immediate neighbors are on board, and that this is like something that is normal in the neighborhood, even if it is not codified in the code, so it does not alter the essential character of the neighborhood.
And to follow up with that, I believe he's done an excellent job with the finishings of it to make it blend in and seem as aesthetic as possible.
Gone through great lengths to make it so. So I will, yeah, go ahead.
The only thing is,
This is one of my pet peeves. And I'm going to ask staff not that it would dictate our decision here, what's the development codes? How does the development code address parking of motor vehicles in the front yards of residences?
It's a code enforcement issue, and you're not allowed to park a motor vehicle on grass. It has to be on a paved surface.
So if they pave that lawn area, he'd be fine.
Correct.
Thank you. I move we accept the variance. And the reason being, I think you've already stated number 5 and whatnot.
To iterate, it was review criteria 1 and 5, and I will second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cash?
No.
Mr. Wanamaker?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Heinreich?
Yes.
Mr. Mintel?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now, the next application is case number 1825. This is an application for the continuation of a non-conforming use. Ms. Savage?
So this is a request by applicant 2AM Management LLC for a continuation of a non-conforming use for the property at 4680 Caprice Drive to allow for the property to continue to be used as a warehouse in the B2 Community Business District, which per the Middletown Development Code is currently a prohibited use. So the property is zoned in the city's B3 General Business District. The purpose of the B3 General Business District is to provide for intense commercial and office development in close proximity to the interstate and high-volume streets that can provide needed goods and services to residents of the city, region, and beyond. Such district is most appropriately located adjacent to freeway interchanges and along major streets. So the property at 4680 Caprice Drive had an approved and issued certificate of zoning compliance to maintain its legal non-conforming use status as a warehouse in the B3 zoning district. The original non-conforming use certificate of zoning compliance was issued back in February 13th of 2024. The property since February 13th, 2024 has been vacant and therefore not in active use as a warehouse for approximately 15 months. Per the Middletown Development Code, Chapter 1224.05, when any non-conforming use is discontinued or abandoned for more than 12 consecutive months, any new use shall conform to the regulations of the district in which it is located, and the non-conforming use may not thereafter be resumed. The intent to continue a non-conforming use shall not be evidence of its continuance. In the second section of this same development code, it does allow the Board of Zoning Appeals to determine that a non-conforming use may continue. So the applicant states in their application that the building's design, construction, and location make this property's highest and best use to be warehousing. Operation in this capacity will have no impact on surrounding properties. The applicant does not believe, if granted, the variance would affect the delivery of governmental services. Per the Middletown Development Code, the requirement for legal notice for variance requests and meeting notice letters for the proposed continuation of a non-conforming use for the property were sent to all property owners contiguous and directly across the street or public right-of-way of the subject property. And I have received one comment. It's actually from the applicant and owner of the building himself. He was unable to be here tonight, but he did want me to let you guys know the current work that they're doing to the building and then the proposed work under consideration. So he said they have just installed a new 60 mil TPO roof with R25 installation. They've removed all abandoned HVAC from the roof. They've done exterior tuck pointing and miscellaneous masonry repair. And they've also done exterior caulking. And then proposed work under consideration for the building owner is they would like to remove pole lights in the parking lot and patch the asphalt, paint the exterior / remove plywood barricades, paint interior walls and roof deck, paint all interior columns, install new restrooms, remodel the existing entrance, and add one pit dock leveler to the existing loading dock. And that was all the comments that they provided me. Here's their variance application. Here was the existing certificate of zoning compliance that was issued in 2024. Their site plan, your use variance review criteria, time limit, and appeals process. And that concludes my staff report.
Thank you. Any questions for Casey?
Yes, actually, so this certificate of zoning compliance was in 2024. I feel like this building's been a warehouse for a long time, longer than that.
Yes.
There were previous zoning certificates, I'm assuming, awarded to this owner, maybe previous owners in the past?
So when I looked it up, I believe it went all the way back to 2016.
That's about what I was
Yeah, so prior to the certificate of zoning compliance in 2016, it was used as a warehouse of corrugated material / storage. Prior to 2016, it was listed just as a vacant commercial building. So it's been a warehouse for a while.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Well, the owner gave you a significant description of what he intends to do.
Yes.
Did he explain what he intends to use the storage for?
I spoke with a representative of his, and he owns a cross-country shipping business, and so he intends to use it as a docking station for some of his semi-trucks, trailers that are coming across country.
like a depot, I guess.
Similar.
So it sounds to me that the traffic that goes into and out of that could be a question.
It could be, yes.
So if I recall correctly, this was before Miss Savage started with the city, but earlier this year, I believe, didn't we consider this property for a screening variance? Does anybody recall that?
Variance, and before that, it was
Correct.
for adding loading docks.
Adding loading docks,
Yes.
So, I mean, I feel like we're a little past the point of being concerned about traffic. We've worked with this owner before on, allowing, variances for the property. Looks like it's well on its way, but, it is a little concerning that it's, obviously I am not an expert in, retrofitting warehouses, but it sounds like it has been taking its time, getting back online. But,
I had one question regarding the dock.
Yeah.
The owner intends on installing a below-level dock?
He said he wanted to add one pit dock leveler to the existing loading dock.
To the existing dock, so no
Correct.
installation at this point
Correct.
of any new
Of
dock?
additional, no.
The leveler is internal to the building to get the floor to the deck height.
Yeah, but there's been no mentioning of them since they withdrew their initial application to add additional blocks. Yeah,
So there is just one dock.
there's just one.
So the traffic is not going to be, can't be a
Because the one that
consequence.
you were talking about, they wanted 2 or 3 in the front or something, right? Yeah,
yeah.
On the southwest corner, I think it was.
I'm happy with it, so.
Any other questions for staff? All right, I'll open the meeting to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application, please step forward. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition of this application, please step forward. Seeing no one, I will close the public portion of the meeting. It seems to be an obvious,
Yeah. Seems like
this building, I don't believe this building, and if we go down through the use variance criteria, as it currently is configured and in the location of Middletown where it is, warehousing would seem to be probably the only use available. Yeah, there's a gym down at the other end, but other than that, there's nothing, I don't think, in between.
And if they actually start using it, maybe people will stop drag racing out of there, but that's a different thing entirely.
Depends on the time of day.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
That discussion being said, I would go ahead and motion that we accept the application and grant the grant the variance, citing that it meets the criteria necessary.
Is that a move? I'll second.
Did you cite any criteria?
Well, because I think on the use, it has to do all of them. So
Yes,
all
it
the
does.
criteria
Yes, it does.
necessary, I believe it meets that.
Yes.
And I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cash?
Yes.
Mr. Wanamaker?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Heidenreich?
Yes.
Mr. Mintel?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, the next case is number 1925. This is an application for an area and dimensional variance. Ms. Savas?
Of course, this is another sign, so bear with me. This is a request by applicant Justin Scaff with One Stop Signs LLC for an area and dimensional variance for the property at 1315 Elliott Drive to allow for a ground-mounted sign of 13 feet in height and 134.5 square feet in area. The property is zoned in the B2 Community Business District, where Middletown Development Code permits signs up to 10 feet in height and 80 square feet in area. The subject property is the Arby's located off of Roosevelt Boulevard. The property is zoned in the city's B2 Community Business District. The purpose of the B2 Community Business District is to provide for areas of the city that will contain a wide variety of commercial and office uses to meet the needs of the city in the region that require access to major arterial streets and are in close proximity to major residential neighborhoods. So, bear with me here. The current ground-mounted sign on the subject property is considered legally non-conforming. Per the Middletown Development Code, Chapter 1220.01E, sign face changes where there is no change to the non-conforming sign structure, including change in sign face area, height, or alteration of the sign cabinet, if applicable, may be made without a certificate of zoning compliance and without losing the legal non-conforming status of the sign. In this case, there is a change in sign height from an existing 5 foot 5/8 inch height to a 13-foot height, which brings the sign out of its legally non-conforming status. Therefore, the new sign must comply with the current Middletown Development Code standards. Per Middletown Development Code Table 1220-2, maximum sign areas and height for freestanding signs in this zoning district, lots with a width of 151 to 300 feet, can have a maximum sign area of 80 square feet and a maximum height of 10 feet. So this request is a 24% increase in the allowable height and 64% increase in the allowable sign area. And the sign area includes the electronic message center and the Arby's hat. And it is actually measured rectangular the way it's supposed to be. I double checked with like 4 different people on this one. So the applicant does not believe, if granted, the variance would negatively impact the surrounding properties or affect the delivery of governmental services. Per the Middletown Development Code, the requirement for legal notice for variance requests and meeting notice letters for the proposed area and dimensional variance were sent to all property owners contiguous and directly across the street or public right-of-way of the subject property. No comments have been received to date. Here's their variance application, their supplemental letter. Here are their signage plans. Oh, and that concludes my staff report.
If I may, Ms. Savage, so just to clarify, we're allowed a 10-foot sign.
Correct.
Right now, we've got a 15-foot sign,
Correct.
and we're wanting to go down to a 13-foot sign, but since
Correct.
we're altering it, we have to
Since we're
start back at,
bare minimum altering the sign height, it's just that one language. in
because
the
we
development.
are altering it, that's why it's before us today.
Correct, yes, but it is getting shorter in height. And because it brings the entire sign out of compliance, we have to now look at the entire sign as it exists, so.
If you would go to the supplementary letter.
Yeah.
This might end up being nothing, but there is just some, in the paragraph at the bottom there, it says to exceed allowed height of 13 feet to 24 feet 4 inches. I didn't see any references 24 feet,
Yeah.
4 inches anywhere else in the packet. So is that the
I'll show you.
total, so like height of the
Yeah, so this is another why I had 4 different conversations about this before I came to you guys. But so they measured the 24 feet, 4 inches from the bottom of the structure where it meets the ground to the very top of the sign. The way that our code defines it is we don't actually include in the sign height the structure itself that the sign is mounted to. So we start from the bottom of the electronic message center and measure to the top of the Arby's hat.
Okay.
That's what we consider the sign height.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, now I'm confused. The one that we have out there is 15 feet some height, 15 something, right?
Yes.
And now we're gonna go to 24 feet.
No. So the one that we have out, so get rid of the poles in the 24 feet altogether. Just pretend that doesn't exist. So the sign height that we currently have out there from the bottom of the electronic message board to the top of the current Arby's hat, that's the 15 feet, 5/8 inch. What they want to go to right now is the bottom of the electronic message board to the top of this brand new Arby's hat is 13 feet. But because they are changing the height of the Arby's hat more than the 10% that I can waive for a height, we're talking about the difference of 6 inches.
So we're not talking about the ground level to the bottom.
Correct.
The mount, I'll call it.
Correct.
The mount. We're not talking, the mount's irrelevant.
Correct,
We're
yes.
just talking about the actual
The
sign
actual signage, yes, correct.
being reduced in size.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. It confused me too. That's why I
On,
asked.
on Brill, we have a lot of, I forget the right term of the signs, but they're 10 feet to the top of the sign with the nomenclature on it. And they're not rising up on posts to any height that they want, and they're restricted on how high they can put those signs on that road. I think that's our standard across the biggest part of the city, is 10-foot maximum height on, what did he call those things? Pedestal?
Ground sign.
Ground signs or monument sign or whatever. And because this one's got posts, it's more, to my thinking, something near the expressway. If we allow posts to be used for a determination on the signs. So I don't understand why I'm not in favor of this at this point, because I believe everywhere else in that area is restricted to that 10-foot total height. Am I wrong?
Well, if you go to the zoning map, it is in the same B2 district as that stretch of Briel. But I'm not trying to be combative, but is there anywhere, like any ordinance or anywhere in the code that you can point to as like a
Well,
justification? for like it?
when that was created, was about the initial time I started, when that redid the zoning regulations, and I believe that's the reason that they want, I wasn't in favor of it, by the way, but they wanted to keep these things in a controlled situation. And this is, in my mind, is against why that was formulated. So I go to Arby's all the time. I don't want any problems with Arby's, but this isn't really what I would expect.
I feel the same way. I think that having the restricted like monument sign, I think is what the verbiage is. I do find that preferable. So I guess we could take a look at the review criteria and see if that. Oh, my bad.
well,
My bad.
To open the meeting.
True. My bad.
I was going to ask Ms. Savage one question. So being legally non-conforming, that, I'm assuming that's almost like being grandfathered.
Yeah.
Since it's been there for a while, so, okay. I just wanted to make sure that didn't come before us before, because it was just there when the code was made.
And I will say, so our development code does have language in it that talks about pole signs must have a minimum height of 10 feet from the ground to the bottom of the sign face. So this 4 inches, like that would we require that 10 feet from the bottom to the bottom of the sign, I mean, that's, you're already putting the pole sign 10 feet off the ground. So it's a difference between like the ground mounted versus the, like these pylon pole structure.
Now, there's a,
Signs.
okay, since we're talking to the city here, there's a building going across the street there that used to be a bank. I don't know what they're gonna convert that in. When they come to us for signage on that, are we gonna allow a pole sign to be put there at any height because they want one?
That would have to be reviewed by.
That would be a monument sign, correct? That's what our
If it
code.
wasn't a pole sign, I would assume, yeah.
Yeah, and as far as the old sign, as far as I'm concerned, the old sign is non-conforming and it's now out of the picture. This is if there's no sign there at all now and they're wanting to put a sign up. That's how I view it. And I believe the monument sign would be the proper definition. I may be wrong, but that's how I feel on it.
Any other questions for staff? All right, I'll open the meeting to the public. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, please step forward.
What's up?
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Identify yourself, sir.
Yeah, I'm Justin Scalf with One Stop Signs. Excuse me. I'm here with Arby's. Arby's RMI, the franchise owner. First thing is first. Let's get a nuance between legal non-conforming and non-conforming. This sign meets the standards of legal non-conforming. If we were the bank across the street building new, we would have to meet the current requirement for new construction and signage. In this case, we have a legal non-conforming sign. So the steel that's out there today kind of meets requirement, meets status quo. The question is can I post a new graphic on top of it? Basically, it's a hostage situation. You can refuse to let me not put new signage on top of it. But Arby's has the privilege to post on that steel and does so for probably, we've got about 25, 30 years left of shelf life on that steel. If we don't grant terms today, it creates a scenario where Arby's has an incentive to keep up that old cabinet and keep the current conditions they have on site. Okay, we're trying to create new branding and new logo on top of it to improve the appearance of the sign. I do want to highlight the fact that this is across the street from a was it R2 or R1 district?
Let me see.
But it has been so for 30 years. Excuse me, RR4P, where the residential properties actually orient away from the structure. I do want to highlight that there's no opposition to it today. In terms of other conditions around this property, there's 2 fuel centers and a shopping center that have signage that exceed 10 square feet, or 10 feet in height, excuse me. So in terms of this creating a new condition out there or some sort of new violation, this is the current conditions that exist on the site. The only change would be in the appearance of the sign. After the new cabinet is placed, it's actually a sizable reduction in overall aggregate height. And then remember when we were talking about the gateway lofts earlier about how how we accumulate really counts against us? If we account from the bottom of that EMC to the top of that Arby's hat, think about how much void space is being counted against us in terms of aggregate area. So yes, I understand it's sizable from like 134 versus the required 80 feet, but think about how much of that is not actually graphic area. The calculation is really working against our favor in terms of the characteristics of the sign. So I don't think the height is going to be the contention here in terms of the question with the city. I think the problem is actually the square feet area. It's very large. And ultimately, it's going to be how much graphic area you guys are going to be comfortable with allowing out there, considering that the intent of the B2 was to reduce the overall size of these things. So I get it. But it's not like we're going out there and ruining the prairie. This is how it is today. Okay, that's it. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Go ahead.
So I was going to say, I'm looking in here. What is your current square footage of the current sign? Is that available? and it might be in here, I might have just missed it when I was reading. We're requesting 134 and a half, but I don't see what the current one is.
So if I have a pen and paper, I've got an initial. For you.
I believe off the top of my head, the square footage is staying the same.
Okay,
It's literally just the height.
okay.
Yeah, the square footage is the same.
Okay, so it is about 134 as well.
Yeah,
so,
because the existing sign is taller, but it's more narrow, and the electronic message board is staying the same, so it's just a matter of height.
It's the difference between a decimal.
Okay,
Yeah, it's 134 and change.
Okay, so
Yeah,
replacing
the same.
with 2 foot shorter.
And we do that so that we can try to stay under the radar of these cities, so we don't create new contention points. We're trying to make it as favorable as possible.
So make sure I understand fully. The posts on which the current sign sits, those will remain. They're gonna be the posts for a new sign.
Not touched, yeah, but it's up to you guys to give me the privilege to utilize them with the cabinet. You can't tell me no.
Any other questions for Mr. Scalf? All right, sir, thank you.
Thank you, guys, I appreciate it.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application, please come forward. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this application, please come forward. Seeing none, I'll close the public portion of this meeting. Comments from the board?
Let's see, Mr. Scalf made a good point where I think he was talking about the hostage situation that we could stumble ourselves into. Is it really more desirable to deny this variance request and keeping that same Arby's sign there? Like you said, we would create an incentive for Arby's to just let it stay there until it cannot stay there anymore, at which point, 15 years down the line, maybe more, then they, put in an application for a new sign if they're even still there at all. Not that I want them to leave. So I think that's a compelling argument for letting this ride, but I'm interested to see, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I was concerned, like Mr. Scalf said, the area would be the most contentious part for the city and perhaps us. And I was surprised and to learn that it was pretty much the exact same square footage. So it sounds to me almost like just replacing a sign with an upgraded that is the same size. That's the way I'm viewing it.
It's kind of the way I see it.
I'll accept that.
In fact, a little less obvious since it's going to be shorter.
And that's what I was worried about, was the square
Maybe
footage.
A little more
Yeah.
broad, but
10-gallon hat.
yeah. Any other comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the variance. I guess I could cite something.
I would say, 5 and 9?
Yeah, we'll say 5 and 9. That's I read 5 earlier, but 9 would be whether the spirit and intent behind the code requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting a variance. I think spirit and intent definitely. Substantial justice, debatable, but good enough.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cash?
Yes.
Mr. Wanamaker?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Heinrich?
Yes.
Mr. Mintel?
Yes.
That is all of those are all of the applications we have.
Correct.
Is there any new or old business?
Not from staff.
Any new or old business from board members?
No.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.